All right, everybody, how you doing? It's James Blingy for Cover 1. It is week 4. We have a bunch of great games to get to. Let me go ahead and bring in my co-host, Paul Harris and Ryan Chappick. Guys, how we doing?
Doing good, James.
Doing all
how you
right,
doing?
James. This is another week of college football. High school football.
College football? What are you talking about? This is a high school show.
Both.
More of a high school show. Before we get into all of our games, let's hear a quick word from Kickin' Cuts. Looking for a fresh cut without breaking the bank? Well, Kickin' Cuts is now open at 4238 Sherwood Way. Haircuts start at $19 for kids and $22 for adults. They offer hot towels, beard detailings, multiple discounts, and they also sell hard-to-find hair care products. Kickin' Cuts is locally owned, and they're ready to get you looking sharp at an affordable price. Kickin' Cuts, located at 4238 Sherwood Way in San Angelo. All right. The Central Bobcats got their first win of the season last week. Chadwick, I know you want to talk about them. They're playing Belton this week. Go ahead.
Man, what a great win. It was another situation where the Bobcats could have let things slip away from them. At one point, they were down by 11 in the third quarter. But the Bobcats showed some great resilience. They put some drives together. The defense got stops when they needed to. In fact, like there was a spot in the third quarter where Micah Smith hit a beautiful deep ball to Colton Hill. It was like a 60-yard touchdown. The defense comes back and forces a 3-and-out, and on that punt goes over the punter's head and ends up being recovered in the end zone by Abilene Cooper. Bobcats got a safety, got the ball back, and then Zay Johnson busted out another great 26-yard run for a touchdown. So it's like everything came together for the Bobcats in that right moment. They built a little bit of a lead and then held off a furious comeback attempt from Cooper. But, yeah, the Bobcats got their first win, man. And it was the first time this season that I've seen the Bobcats look like a complete team from start to finish. And, I mean, we knew it was coming. We knew that this team was going to put it together, and it was a great way to get a first win.
All right, now talk about Belton. They got Belton this week. They have a shot at, getting to 500.
Yeah, man. So they pretty much steamrolled Belton last year. They beat them 33-6 or 33-8 or something like that. But since then, Belton finished 2-9 last year. They've kind of revamped their offense, and it's led to some pretty good results. They were a traditional run team a year ago, and they've kind of switched that over to a spread like a bunch of high school and college teams are doing now. Lots of RPOs, some read option in there as well, but they pass the ball a lot more. And with that, they found more success. They're 2-1 on the year right now. Lost their first game last week, and the Bobcats are going to have their hands full. Like it's one of those things. If the Bobcats don't allow explosive plays like they did against Amarillo High or they did against Abilene High, then they have a really good chance of winning this game. They match up well athlete-wise, and I think that the difference in this game is going to be how well they limit the explosive play and how well the Bobcats take care of the football.
All right. And we're going to talk about the undefeated team in San Angelo when we come back from this word from Shelburne Financial. At Shelburne Financial, you are more than just a number. They will help you plan for retirement, prepare tax documents, and more. Whether you're looking to grow your savings or plan for your future, the experienced team at Shelburne Financial is here to help you and guide you every step of the way. Give them a call at 944-9447 or head over to 3177 Executive Drive and invest in your future. All right, let's talk about the pride of the North Side, the Lakeview Chiefs. They are 3-0. Chris Alviso is the truth there at quarterback. I am officially jumping on the Chief train. Paul, you are going to be at this game. They are playing Lubbock. They have a very good chance of going 4-0. What do you think?
I mean, it's extremely exciting. Not only are the Chiefs 3-0, I mean, all 3 wins are impressive. The offense looks awesome. Alviso, like you said, he is the real deal. I mean, 28-38 last week, 305 yards. On the season, I think he's got like a 72% completion rate.
Yeah, it's like 71.7. Rounds up to 72. He is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, a ridiculously balanced receiving core. And then Isaiah Rios, I mean, he showed what he could do last year when he was first team all-district running back, when he was filling in after Sammy Ramirez got hurt. But, man, he just looks like he's got shot out of a cannon on some of these plays. He had 5 touchdowns last week, 170 rushing yards. Just super, super exciting offense what they're doing right now. So a chance to go 4-0, I think, for the first time since 1983. Some real history on the line here, and it's not like a 3-0 where they're squeaking by. I mean, they've scored over 40 points every game. So this is the kind of year the Chiefs have been waiting on for a long time. They got a chance to have a winning record for the first time in 21 years. So a lot on the line tonight, even though it's non-district. It's a huge game for Lakeview with Lubbock High coming to town, and I'm really pumped to go see it.
I have some numbers for Lakeview. They are scoring 45 points a game, or right around 45 points a game. I rounded up, rounded down if I needed to. And they're giving up 62 points. It's about 21 points a game. For their offense, Albiz was 71-92 for 853 yards, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's got a 126.4% passer rating. Isaiah Rios, they haven't really been handing him the ball all that much. He's averaged about 11 carries a game, but he has 324 yards, 9.5 yard average, 7 touchdowns on the ground. And then his receiving core, 5 different receivers have over 100 yards. Braylon White has 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nicholas James Leyva has 168 yards, 1 touchdown. Isaiah Rios, catching out of the backfield, he's got 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Calvin Whitfield, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Rodella, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. Now we're getting into these 3 players. They have 60 yards of DJ Munoz, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gabriel Alvarez, 61 yards. Christian Esparza, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely insane that you have that many players that can take the ball and move the chains. Insane. The War Party over there on defense, they have 6 interceptions on the year, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. You're getting the ball back an average of 3 times for your offense. That's how you win football games. You win the turnover battle, you usually win the game. And for Lubbock, I have their numbers too. Zach Renya, he's got 629 yards on the season so far, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bo Davis is a sophomore running back. He's got 55 carries for 462 yards, 6 touchdowns. Renya also runs the ball. He's about 5 yards a game, or 5 carries a game, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Receiving, though, this is where Lakeview has to really kind of buckle down. They can't let these guys beat them because they have some big play threats. Denzel Robbins, 19 receptions, 184 yards, 3 touchdowns. Israel Cervantes, 150 yards. And Easton Blakely, he's got 3 catches for 144 yards and 1 touchdown. And defensively, they've got 1 sack, 4 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. So they're good at getting the ball out, but they're not so good at recovering it. Lakeview has a really good chance at. I don't think they should be shooting for 4-0. I think they need to be shooting for an undefeated season. I don't know how possible that is because they do have some really good teams coming up, and their districts always, even though they've already made the playoffs and have a 4-team district, district games are always tough and they can go either way. This is a good Lakeview team. This is if you don't believe the hype from Lakeview, this is the year to believe it. They are playing very, very good football over there.
Yeah, and it's an interesting matchup too, James, because Coach Rodriguez over at Lubbock High knows Coach Cavar really well, and they've known each other for a long time. They have a lot of respect for each other, and so it's always really interesting when these 2 teams match up. They always play well against each other, and Lubbock High's gotten the better of them over the last couple seasons. But I think this year, you got to give Lakeview an edge. That offense looks unstoppable. They haven't scored less than 40 yet. I know that defense is a work in progress, but they're playing great. I haven't seen this much hype just for Northside football in a long time. The community's getting behind them, and I do think that there's going to be a packed stadium on Friday, and let's see what they got.
Oh, I'm really excited for Lakeview this year, and it just feels different in San Angelo right now. It just, usually it's Central football is what brings the numbers and brings everything. Looking at our Facebook numbers from the past few, we had the Lakeview preview last week, we had Lakeview preview this week, and we had Central previews both weeks. The Lakeview stuff has a lot more impressions and comments and everything on it. People are really excited about this Lakeview team, and it is something to be. It's something. It's really awesome that Lakeview's really playing good football this year, and it's just in the past, they've started the season and they've just kind of falling apart. And, last year I said it all season long about they have to win one district game. They're going to get Stephenville in that first round because that's the district they end up playing that first round in the playoffs. And, they have to win at least one game, and it never happened. This year feels a lot different. Alvizo's playing very well. He's got a receiving core playing very well. The defense, Kentrell Johnson had a 95-yard interception return in that first game. So it's not just getting the ball, it's knowing what to do with it when you got it. This team feels different than they have in the past, and I'm really excited about Lakeview football. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of our other games. Before we do, here's a quick word from Angelo MRI.
Have you ever needed an MRI? Do you know someone that needs an MRI? And did you know that you have a choice? When your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI. The founders of Angelo MRI started Angelo MRI when they faced the high cost of MRIs from traditional medical facilities. That's why Angelo MRI offers a better way, a high-quality MRI for just $5.95. And Angelo MRI accepts all insurance, saving you time and money. It's your health, your money, and your choice. Angelo MRI, 4114 South Jackson in San Angelo, or look them up at angelomri.com. Remember, when your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI.
All right, this is one of our matchups that we don't get out to these teams an awful lot. We didn't get out to one of these teams at all last year. This is the Mason Punchers versus the Junction Eagles. Paul, I know you know kind of a little bit more about this rivalry. Let's just discuss this one. Go ahead. Mason has had Junction's number the past few years. Almost
Mason's
2 decades.
Mason's had a lot of teams' numbers, so but they're rivals. They're right down the road. I think they're right down the road from 377 from each other, and 19 in a row. It's kind of crazy, that Junction has not been able to get the advantage in this rivalry any of those years. But Mason's been a great team the last 2 decades. But this seems like the year. Junction's number 6 in the state. They went to the state quarters last year. That brought back a lot of guys, including their quarterback, including their coach. And Mason's the team that seems like the underdog. It's kind of weird to say that when they've won 19 in a row here, but they're the team with a new coach. They only brought back a couple starters, new offense that they're running. So if there's going to be a year, it seems like the year. But what Mason has going in his favor is it is in Mason. They play well at the Puncherdome. And Mason's finally got a little momentum. They had to start off with Wall. Doesn't really get much tougher than that. The close loss to Brady, and then the big win over Coleman last week. They finally found their footing, So they've got a little momentum. So it'll be interesting to see. And ultimately, psychologically, none of these Junction kids have ever beat Mason. In their life, they've not seen a win over Mason. So there is some psychological edge there that could come into play. But
I will say to Junctions, though, they could also feed them, we've never beaten these guys. We have a chance to go beat Mason this year and really send a message that, hey, we're not this pushover team. We weren't a fluke last year. And, yeah, Mason, new head coach, basically a new offensive line, new quarterback in there, new offense. We went to that first game. I was at that first game against the Wall. That wasn't really a good read on Mason because Wall is – state favorites from the area. I know it wasn't the state game against Gunter last year. That was pretty much the state game, though. Whoever won that game was going to win state. No offense to Woodville. They did put up a great defensive battle in that state game against Gunter. But it just wasn't a good game to really get a read on Mason. And you're right, they did come back. And Brady's a good team, too. Brady's not a pushover team either. Last week they played Ozona, and Christian Villarreal was running for 370 yards a game. They held him to 230. I realize that's not really holding or containing anybody, but it was a weird thing before halftime. Villarreal went down just as time expired, but they said they got a timeout in, so they had 1 second on the clock. They scored on that play, and then the play at the kickoff, Brady fumbled it. Mason recovered it, ran it back. That's 2 touchdowns right there. The game was a 2-touchdown game. You hold on the ball, you secure it, and just objectively, I was walking off the field. Brady was running to the locker rooms. I was like, it's halftime, and the refs were like, no, we have 1 second left. I'm like, how did they get 1 second? It was such a bang deal. It didn't seem like there was 1 second because the buzzer rang. I was like, half's over. But they had one more play, and Brady gave up a touchdown there at the end. And, it was close. But Mason did lose them by 2, but they still, it was 24-22. It's a tight game. And yeah, they did beat Coleman pretty good. They beat Coleman pretty good last year too. So that could give them, all right, hey, we're Mason. You're still Mason. You still have the, psychological deal of we are the Mason Punchers. But I do feel like Junction, just the experience they bring. Jason Doyle came back, 1,600 yards last year, 25 touchdowns. They had the Bierschwal brothers that he's throwing to. I like Junction in this one, just because Mason still might be kind of figuring it out. What do you think?
I mean, Mason's still Mason. They've still got stud athletes out there, and so their demise, if anybody's writing them off, it's been too quick. They're still Mason. They still beat Junction by 20 points last year. I mean, when Junction went on to the state quarters, Mason is the bigger school. They're 2AD1, Junction's 2AD2. So I think it's going to be a good game. It'll just be really interesting to see how Junction responds. I think it's a real statement opportunity for them, and I think they're going to embrace it.
I don't think it should be discounted on how hard it is for teams to travel and play in the Puncherdome either.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, the new look Puncherdome. They had that storm that blew the top off the Puncherdome, and it's such a historic deal. It was a rodeo arena, right?
Right.
At one point, and it was iconic, the big Puncherdome, and we used the picture on our. It's a lot more picturesque than the new things. They have a couple deer stands out there for coaches and filming. It just looks not like the Puncherdome, man. It's heartbreaking that happened. I hope they can get it back to looking like it used to look. Now we're going to move on to, we're going to be at Sterling City and Cristobal. In Cristobal, this Cristobal quarterback played out of his mind last week against McCamey. Go ahead.
Yeah, they really struggled the first couple weeks, and then he just, you can tell there were some big plays because he's averaging like 25 yards of completion. He only completed 13 and 19 passes. Well, good efficiency there, but not a lot of passing. But
his rushing yards are pretty crazy too, man. 20 times for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, so a 470-yard offensive performance by Ty DeBusk. New quarterback for them. He's an underclassman. I don't know if he's a sophomore or a junior, but
they also have a new head coach out there too. So that we didn't know what to expect from Cristobal.
Right. And then they struggled a little bit, but they ran into some. Ballinger's got a good defense. That 13-6 game, and then they lost to El Dorado, but. Man, they showed what they were capable of last week, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do for an encore versus Sterling City. And Sterling City, it's likely their last year of 11-man. They're probably kind of, they got a 6-man coach. They're probably heading back to 6-man, we think.
They were playing 11-man on varsity last year, and I think on junior varsity, and then their junior high was playing 6-man last year. So it's just kind of one of those weird things. But yeah, no, Sterling City, they're probably moving back to 6-man. I would believe so.
Yeah, and they've done well. They've made the playoffs all 3 years in 11-man since moving up from 6-man. And so if they have to go out like this, that's unfortunate, But they've overachieved to me. Moving up to 11-man and continuing to make the playoffs says a lot about the kids out there, and the coaches. So we'll see how they do. I think this is a game that they can be competitive in.
Absolutely. I think this would be a good game for Cristobal. Should they get the win, stack some wins, get some confidence, and because that district, aside from Ozona and Sonora, it's kind of wide open right now. Those spots, and Cristobal surprised us last year by beating Ozona at the end of the year to get into the playoffs. So yeah, Cristobal has a pretty good chance here to get another win, stack some wins, and then hit we're coming up on the second half of the season where district's gonna be playing into it, where you're gonna need to put some wins together. And then the other game we're going to, Miles and Ozona. Miles, one of those teams that graduated a lot last year, or not Ozona, Miles and El Dorado, I apologize. But again, Miles graduated a lot last year. They did bring their quarterback, Liam Yancey, back, who played extremely well last year. And he had a heavy senior group that all graduated. And even Wilhelm, though, said, on paper, yeah, it looks like we graduated a lot, but we're moving some guys from defense to offense, and they're going to kind of play both ways, which is small schools. That's kind of just what you do. And go ahead and what do you think about this one?
Well, Miles has struggled to start the year, and I think, it's like, okay, well, hey, Liam Yancey's coming back. We can kind of hang our hat on that, but he's got a whole new line in front of him. He doesn't have Cooper Ellison to throw to and some of these, these dynamic weapons he had around him. So it's been tough. They've taken some lumps so far. El Dorado, they've got Johnny Ray Adame coming back, so similar deal as far as a good quarterback coming back. They've got a little more around him, more returning experience. So I feel like El Dorado's got the edge here. But I don't think Liam Yancey's going to be down for forever. I mean, he's going to start to get the guys around him are going to start to get a little more cohesive, and it's going to start coming together again. But it's been tough for him so far after the success he had early on.
I do think this is a good matchup for Miles to play El Dorado, even though yes, El Dorado does have Adame at quarterback. They played Cristobal that first week, beat Cristobal. Then they played Ozona.
That's tough.
Christian Villarreal did his thing, but he's done his thing just against pretty much everybody. He's probably going to continue to put up incredible numbers. So this will be a good game for Miles to kind of figure things out. El Dorado has a good chance here to, hey, we're going to prove that we're not the forgotten guys in the Concho Valley. We're going to go out and we're going to get a win. I think this is a great matchup. Y'all think?
Yeah.
It should be a competitive game. I think so.
It's one of those things, too. It's like, it's nice that you're not having to play another powerhouse after powerhouse. Like these teams seem a little bit more evenly matched, and it's just going to be more classic high school football. Great chance for both these teams to learn a little bit before the start of district play, And to Miles' credit, man, like they're bringing a whole new roster to the fore, as it were. But like I'd like to see Yancey just do a little bit more, like be the guy. So. Yeah, man. Like I think it's just going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, he didn't just lose Cooper Ellis, and I think Tevin Mead the running back was just as big of a loss for them as anything. But we're going to get into our player of the week and our college coverage after this ad from the ArcLight. Catch all the collegiate and pro football action at the ArcLight Bar and Grill, located at 441 Rio Concho Drive, inside the Clarion Hotel in downtown San Angelo. Watch all the close calls and game-winning touchdowns on one of the biggest screens in West Texas. This weekend, games include Texas Tech at Utah State and the Texas Longhorns against Sam Houston State. After the game, Gage and the Grease Monkeys will be playing live music immediately after Arch Manning and the Longhorns take it to the Bearcats. The ArcLight Bar and Grill, the sports bar and live music spot in San Angelo. All right, we've already kind of talked about this kid. This is our player of the week. Just played outstanding. We can't give it to Christian Villarreal every week, even though he did put up good numbers against Brady. But this kid just played out of his mind. Tied a bust from Cristobal quarterback. He went 13 of 19 for 328 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then rushed 20 times for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns against McCamey. Paul, great numbers.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the kid looks like. Cristobal's a pretty big mystery kind of heading into the season with the new offense, new coach, new quarterback. So there's a breakout game for him. It looks like he can throw it and run it. And so I'd like to see what he's all about when we get a chance. Get some eyes on him.
Well, and half of playing the quarterback position anyway is confidence, right? Like I feel like that performance against McCamey, maybe something just clicked, and maybe we're going to start seeing performances like this from him every single week. And I know it's not just him; he's still got to have receivers to go and get those deep throws that he's doing. But anytime a quarterback has confidence in the deep ball, you kind of know that what direction that his development is going to go. And I mean, being the new quarterback for Cristobal, it's exciting to watch. And so, like, congratulations to him. Like, he balled out.
Yeah, it'd also be nice to talk about somebody else besides Christian Villarreal.
Right.
Even though we are going to talk about him. He did win Built Ford Tufts Player of the Week. So we will have coverage of that. So tune into our post-game show for some Christian Villarreal. And then let's get into some college coverage. ASU. Chadwick, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so Angelo State moved up again in the rankings this week. They're number 7 now, correct?
They're 6th in the nation.
Number 6 in the nation now. After a real tough week last week, it seemed like everything was working against them on the road in Portales against Eastern New Mexico. Had a 2.5-hour rain delay during a night game, so they just pushed everything back. When they came back, playing in water, like ankle-deep water anyway, couldn't throw the ball. The weather was absolutely atrocious. The field conditions were atrocious. Still came away with a win, right? That defense is for real. One of the big reasons they won was special teams. Their kicking game looked great all night. They had a kick return for a touchdown, and they carry all that momentum back home this week, where then they host Western New Mexico. It's going to be at LeGrand Stadium at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. I expect it's Western New Mexico's complete opposite team is the Eastern New Mexico's triple option team. Western New Mexico's completely spread, so they're going to air it out, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Western New Mexico tries to throw that ball 50 or 60 times. Look for the defense to feast. I do think that they're going to have several takeaways in that matchup. Still dealing with no Fuller at quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be back this week. I know that injury wasn't as severe as some people thought, but got another performance ahead of the backup quarterback, and let's see if the ASU offense can get things rolling. Man, but it's going to be a good matchup. I do think ASU it should be heavily favored in this one, and I think they're going to pull out a win. Otherwise, in college football, Texas is playing Sam Houston State. I need to see more from Arch Manning. He's been kind of a letdown this season, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt after Ohio State, but he didn't look good against UTEP. He didn't look good against San Jose State. In fact, he had 10 incompletions in a row against UTEP last week. So Longhorn Nation needs to see more from this guy, but still ranked number 8 in the nation. Let's see what they got. Game of the week, though, big noon kickoff. The matchup between Texas Tech and Utah. Texas Tech is number 17 in the nation. Utah is number 16 in the nation. This could be a preview for a future Big 12 championship. It's going to be the first time the Red Raiders have been really challenged this season on the road. Salt Lake City is not an easy place to play, and Utah's got just as much right on this as Texas Tech. But Texas Tech has that looming. We spent $28 million on our roster. Let's see if it was all worth it.
All right. Well, everybody, this has been the pregame show. Remember, go check out the top 5 games of the week on our website. Check out the game previews. And, of course, tomorrow we'll have live scores going for all the games, the Contra Valley and beyond. And then check out our postgame show this Saturday. But for the pregame show, Cover 1, I'm James Bellini, Paul Harris, Ryan